Alright folks, out here at the flight line again. Got a new acquisition. It is called the RocHobby. Is who puts it out. It's called the P-51 Strega. This has won the Reno pylon races several times. It's actually the world's fastest P-51, if I recall. So out here the flight line, kind of a dreary day. We've been having a lot of rain, a little bit swampy out there, about a 5-mile-an-hour wind, and going to take this out there and give it a try. This is supposed to go about 85 miles per hour with that 4-blade prop, and if you switch it out for a 2-blade, then it will I've seen reports anywhere from 105 to 140 or so, 135, 140. So maybe way above my skill set. I do think you can fly it off of a 3-cell battery. I will be flying it on a 4-cell today. I'll just try to use some stingy throttle management on it, so we don't have any unsightly errors. And again, this being more of a warbird tail dragger type low wing and a new pilot, I'm hoping and got my fingers crossed that this goes well. This is actually a very affordable plane, about $200, right in that neighborhood. So let's get it out there and give it a try. Okay, here we go. I'll be flying this out on the low rates, using exactly what the manual calls for. Give it a try here and see how she handles the grass. Grass is a little longer than normal. It's not wanting to get up on the ground. Let's get it out here and see. The weather vaned really bad, but the grass is a little long there. So let's give it a try here and see what happens. Better put that into high rates there to get a little more elevator. She really looked like she wanted to nose over. Wow. Pretty windy. She's wanting to climb up, and she definitely pushed all the way around to the left on her own. I never touched the stick. She made a complete left-hand bank and came back around. Back into mid rates and see how she handles. First maiden flight, I don't really like to push it. We got enough wind out here. I'm not even going to try a flap landing. I think I'm going to bring this puppy in. Well, that went a lot better than I had anticipated. She's got a tremendous yaw to the left. And one of the things I normally notice on a retracts out here on the grass, if you don't have a perfect landing, when you go to pull the gear back up, it does not want to seat in there. So let's take a look. Hopefully you can see this. Yeah, lined up perfect. Alright. Well, that was the maiden flight of the P-51 Strega. Good looking plane. The wind picked up quite a bit. You can see that's a 15 knot sock up there if I recall. Don't got my wind meter out, but that flag out there, when it gets horizontal, it's about 12 miles an hour or so, 10. So I'm guessing it's probably 8 or 9 miles per hour right now. And this needs to get trimmed out a little bit before it will be ready to call it good. But not as fast as I had anticipated. That was a little somewhat disappointing. I really thought it would rip through the sky a lot faster than that. But can't complain any. Timer just went off, so it was right at a limitation on the battery, on the initial timer. Let's take a look and see where we wound up at. Using a hat cam, it's hard to tell if you guys can see this or not. So I'll move my head around a bit. 16.1 down to 402, 401, and 405. So I usually bring my batteries down to about 3.8. So at a 5-minute flight, I'm guessing we can get an easy 7 minutes if you're conservative on the throttle, maybe even 8 minutes. So that's good news. Alright, well, that was, by the way, on one of the Hobby King Zippy 4-cells, 2650 milliamp. And I think this is a 20C, yeah, 20C battery. I've got one that's a little higher. I think it's a 50C discharge, but this one was on top of the box, so I just grabbed it. Well, overall, I'm liking it. It's always nervous on the maiden flights, especially as a new pilot. You're always concerned that you're going to go down in a catastrophic collision, not be able to react fast enough, or just, you know, get into trouble up there. And really shouldn't be doing a maiden out here when it's windy like this. It's also good to have an experienced pilot with you in case you have questions, problems, issues, stuff like that. They can grab the radio from you if all else fails, if you're not flying on a buddy box. So, good plane. I am a big fan of the P-51. I like the P-51 and I like the Corsair. I think that's the two of the best-looking World War II era planes ever manufactured. So definitely a big fan of them. Getting another P-51 in, just waiting on a few parts to finish off the build on it. It's actually a rebuild of an Oak Crow, P-51 Oak Crow that I had. Came out here and met its demise out there in the middle of the runway. Took my eyes off it for a split second, thinking I was far enough above the ground, but 12-15 feet gets covered pretty quick when you're rocking along at 40-50 miles an hour. So can't wait to get it back. That was my favorite flying plane. That's really why I bought this one, is I was hoping that being a P-51 frame, now obviously it's built for speed and a racer, but I'm hoping that it maintains some of the flight characteristics and flight envelope as the original P-51. I've seen some YouTube videos on this one, and it seems like it really handles well. Again, it's probably well outside of my current level of expertise, but I'm hoping it's something I can grow into. Maybe just take it easy on the throttle and don't hog it too much. Of course, you know, think back when you was a youngster and you first got your driver's license. You had that big, powerful V8 out in front of you. You can't help but put your foot in the gas. So I'm sure I'll be the same way with this one. I only hit it full throttle up there once on this maiden flight. And it was on the downwind leg, too. So I was a little surprised it didn't look like it had more juice behind it. But we'll see on another day when it's better. We're going to get more rain, so it'll probably be 4 or 5 days before I can get back out here. This field gets flooded. Out here, we're actually in the pit area. You can see it's still damp and moist from the last rain. When it gets a good heavy rain, this pit area will take about a week to completely dry out. They got pumps in the ground and stuff, but it just this is built on an old landfill. So I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but that field is not real level. It kind of is waverly. Is that a word? It's kind of uneven out there where the ground has settled over the years. But it's the closest one to me. It's actually about 4.8 miles from my house, so I get a chance to come out here quite often. I think that's why I've progressed rather rapidly. You know, I took my first flight in June of this year. This is October, so only been flying just a few months, and already progressed up to warbirds. Again, I like the warbirds just because of the history aspect of it. I think they look good. I think they're a lot of fun. Ultimately, I'm still toying with the idea: do I want to stay with electric and foam, or do I want to go with gas-powered and balsa? You can get some really nice kits out there. Ultimately, gas is messier. Electric is easier. Gas is probably cheaper in the long run. Electric, you gotta worry about different types of batteries, different kinds of batteries. Batteries run anywhere from $15 to a couple $100 per battery. So you just never know which way you'll go. I can tell you this: I've had one balsa plane and had a problem with the receiver, lost signal, and it tipped its wing right out in front of us here, and came down nose first and destroyed the fuselage. There is no rebuilding on it. This foam planes, I've got a couple of them that actually every foam plane I've had that I've only got one really. It was the GB that wrecked, and I haven't rebuilt it. It is definitely rebuildable. My old Crow P-51, I wrecked that thing probably 4 or 5 times before it finally had enough damage to not warrant fixing it. I had to buy new parts for it. My Apprentice, that thing has been wrecked so many times I can't even count. That's what I learned to fly on. Glue, hot glue, epoxy, and tape, right back in the air. My Apprentice, I've replaced, $20 worth of parts here, $20 worth of parts there, and right back in there and flying. So that's where the foams have their distinct advantage over the balsas. I know the balsa is more traditional, and it seems like they do fly better. That balsa plane I had, it flew like you'd lathered it up with butter. I mean, it just slipped through the air like crazy. It was a smaller, it was probably about this size, I guess, probably 1,000 millimeter. This is 1,100 millimeter, and that thing was fast. It was every bit as fast as this one, I think, from what I saw today, anyway. Now this could just be that I'm running a 20C battery and didn't really put it through its paces accordingly, but definitely flew well. Kicking around if I'm going to rebuild the balsa or not. You can buy the whole kit for $140 or so. and the fuselage and the cowling that I would definitely have to have is going to be about $75 plus shipping. So basically half the cost to rebuild it is what I'm looking at, and that's the only reason I haven't done it yet. Well, enough chit chat and idle conversation here. I'll sign off. I appreciate you watching, and hopefully you enjoyed this video of the Strega. Thanks.